Good evening, you're watching CNN News 18's Saturday Debate. My name is Tejas Singh. We are starting the show this evening by taking a look. The images behind me and the images we're going to be showing you in just a second right now. A very big Make in India push. The Prime Minister flew the indigenous light combat aircraft. LCA will be referring to it in the next few hours. Tejas in Bengaluru today. These visuals went viral in the hours after. Now, he co-piloted a trainer version while on his review visit to the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL. Now, this is not all. The Prime Minister became the first Prime Minister to fly the Tejas. He went on a sortie. He's also obviously the first to fly a indigenous fighter aircraft. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about this and what this moment represents for HAL, for the defense sector in general. We're going to take a deeper dive, but we're also going to touch on, our focus tonight is also going to be on the political war that's broken out over the last few hours, with a credit war taking place, the Congress pointing out that these are plans that were developed all the way back in the 1980s and the 1990s, and saying that you need to give the Congress party credit too when it comes to the Tejas's long life stories. 4 decades almost it's taken to see this day. You have the BJP obviously arguing that, and we'll bring you both sides in just a second. We'll also show you in just a second some of the jibes we've seen play out tonight. But tonight we're taking a look at India's defense sector. That's the deep dive we're doing right here on our Super Saturday Debate.
प्रधानमंत्री की बड़ी ख्वाहिश थी कि वो आसमान को छू लें और आसमान की तरफ वो उड़ के चले जाएं, लेकिन मैं प्रधानमंत्री से बहुत अदब से कहूँगा, आसमान से नीचे उतरिए, आकाश से नीचे आइए, ज़मीन धरती पर आइए, तभी आप देश के लोगों के लिए कुछ कर सकते हैं।
Congress, I told they have become mentally bankrupt, ideologically bankrupt, so they will raise such questions. He's a Prime Minister. He has to see the defense issues also. He has to run the country, and when he has to run the country, he has to come see all these things also, particularly the nitty-gritties of defense also.
Okay, as I promised earlier, we're going to be looking at the political and the technical tonight. First, let's take a look at the political. What is the credit attack that's going on right now, the back and forth that we're seeing? Number one, the Congress pointing out the timeline. So as we told you, this is an idea that was conceived of all the way back in the 1980s. The Congress pointing that out, also pointing out that operational clearance also happened very much while they were still in power in 2011. Attack number 2. There are 6 different pointers here. They're saying efforts were taken prior to 2014. Now, it's important to point out, when they're saying the Prime Minister is taking credit now, this has, remember, been the big line, as we were telling you already, that the Prime Minister is the first to fly an indigenous fighter jet today. Their point is, look, obviously, it's only been put into usage recently. Obviously, he's the first Prime Minister to do so. Attack number 3, the technological capacity that we're talking about over here, that HAL is showing to even put out these aircrafts. That's a capacity that was built over decades. It's not something that happened overnight. And indeed, that's something we're going to take a deeper dive into today with our experts. We're going to look to understand from them what the timeline has been over the decades and what India's defense story has looked like. This question of Make in India, indigenous production, how indigenous are we in this moment? To look at some of those statistics and data, we have experts joining us in just a minute from now. But attack number 4, and this is really the headlining attack we're seeing from the Congress, that the Prime Minister is the master of Chunavi photo ops. What are they talking about here? Remember, as we speak, elections took place in Rajasthan, but over this month you've seen elections in 5 states. Their point is that this is all very well timed to put the Prime Minister right on the front pages. And attack number 5, this is something we pointed to a little earlier, the Congress pointing to a very famous pilot that they indeed did have in their midst, former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, who was a pilot. Attack number 6, they've said, which other panoti does all of this for the camera? And that is a reference to a comment we saw Rahul Gandhi make, something that he in fact saw an election commission notice for when he referred to the Prime Minister as a panoti or a bad luck omen. All right, that's a quick summary of the political attacks we've seen play out. But tonight, as I promised, we're not just going to be taking a political deep dive. We're also going to be looking at some of the larger technological questions that this entire story throws up. We have with us tonight to take this debate further Siddharth Yadav, a spokesperson of the BJP, Salman Soz, a national spokesperson for the Congress, and to provide us with much of the defense and historic context, we also have Major General A.K. Sivach, who's with us. As I said, I'll be treating him as a historian and a defense expert for our show. Let's take our first question to General A.K. Sivach. General, thank you for joining us this evening right here on CNN News 18. General, before I go over to the two political spokespeople that we have with us here on the show, if I could ask you just to lay out for our audiences a timeline. General, tell us, right from conception to today, much has been made about the very, very long timeline it took for us to see Tejas in the skies. Can you tell us what that timeline looked like and why it took so long?
You know, no doubt, what happened is that this was conceived basically Tejas in 1980s. And this was to basically replace the MiG-21, which we had the maximum from Russia, and also operation clearance given in 2011. But its process was very slow, and it is only in last 10 years it has picked up. And HAL, where we were thinking that whether it is going to now manufacture this Tejas Mark 1 or not, or we are going to go for a foreign vendor. Basically, in last 10 years, the amount of progress which are made, that first we have Tejas Mark 1, then Tejas Mark 1 Alpha, and then Tejas Mark 2. Now, what is the cutting edge as far as this aircraft is concerned, is that, you know, the biggest problem of aircraft is, especially a fighter aircraft, is the engine, and we do not have the capability of manufacturing engine, and we were trying to take it from other countries. But what we have signed with US, and that is basically General Electronic Aerospace and HAL, manufacture jointly GE 414 engine, and to be manufactured in India itself, and transfer of technology more than 80%. Now, this is the game changer which has done, and this is now changed the whole canvas of this. As on today, we will have Tejas Mark 1, Mark 1 Alpha and Tejas Mark 2, state of aircraft which will be produced in India itself with transfer of technology, and we will able to produce more and also able to export to other countries. There are other countries like Philippines, there are countries like Indonesia, Egypt, Argentina, Nigeria. They have shown a lot of interest in Tejas Mark 1 Alpha. So, my point is, I can only say with pride today that as a nation, we have progressed tremendously, and now we are saying Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India concept, where we used to have almost 70 to 80% of our defense equipment importing from other countries. Today, we are in a position to almost export about 30 to 40% and able to earn almost 17,000 crore in a year. We have now become a country which used to earlier import, now able to export, Make in India, Make for world. This, I think, has paid off, and especially with this two corridor which has come, one in north in Lucknow and another in Bangalore. So, there are number mushrooms of defense companies which has come up, and it is not only Tejas Mark 1 light combat helicopter is there, there is BrahMos missile, Akash, Nag, there are series of it. Today we can proudly say that we are a country which in future will able to export majority of our defense items and able to earn a lot of foreign currency for the country. So, yeah.
Okay, General, can I ask you a question here before I go over to the two political voices we have with us? General, back in 2018, 2019, we did see some articles that muddied the story slightly. You had certain financial complaints. Of course, HAL is a company that has been dodged by those as early as 2010. But even in 2018, 2019, I'm only bringing this up because, sir, you said the last 10 years have looked rosier. Back in 2018, 2019, you did have those financial questions raised. And sir, you also had another set of questions raised. You had senior voices in the Air Force saying that even though HAL was putting out aircrafts, the quality of those aircrafts, and I'm only talking about 2018, at that point, was perhaps not to the level that the Air Force was used to. General, would you like to comment on either of those two assertions?
You know, no doubt. What you are saying, there is the justification is very clear that yes, of course, the HAL had its own problem. They were very slow and they were not able to produce the result in a timeline which is given. But I think that is the past now. Now we must see what they are doing now. In last about 7 to 8 years, you can see it. It's a change HAL. Joint production of an engine called G414, Tejas Mark 1. You know, we are going to take 83 made in India itself, and then the assembly line has been not only at Bangalore, again in Nashik, which is able to produce 24 aircrafts every year. I suppose whatever was there in the past is forgotten now. What is HAL doing now? In the sense, Tejas Mark 1 Alpha, then Tejas Mark 2, manufactured in India itself, collaboration of HAL with the General Electronic Aerospace of US, I think it's a game changer. We should proudly say that a country which one could never imagine of manufacturing combat aircraft, we are in that business. Not only aircraft, then light combat helicopter, the MCA, the advanced medium combat aircraft, again will be manufactured in India itself. So we are a changed nation now, and I suppose the HAL has come a long way. Now HAL, which used to be doubted that will they able to make it, now we feel it very confident HAL can produce result, and they have shown the result. And I suppose in future you will find it many more such things coming up. And the fact that Tejas Mark 1 Alpha and Tejas Mark 2 are on a pipeline, I think it is a matter of pride for all the Indians that we are a country which will able to genuinely produce indigenous our own aircraft by transfer of technology.
Okay. So, General, if I had to summarize your point and your response to what I said, it would be correct to say that you essentially are saying let bygones be bygones, concentrate on the huge achievements right now of Tejas and of HAL. Let me go over right now to Siddharth Yadav, a spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Yadav, if I were to just take that approach, if I were to just listen to what it is that the General said over the last few minutes, and if we were to just concentrate on the present day achievements of HAL, Mr. Yadav, even then, don't you think it would be perhaps correct to lend credit to the Congress, because it was during Congress days back in the 1980s that we saw the birth of this project? Mr. Yadav, I do want to bring up one more point right before I come over to you for an answer. We were talking to our historians, our researchers who work for us here on the team. We were asking them of famous examples where either the Congress has given credit to the BJP or the BJP to the Congress for military milestones, for defense and technology milestones. And they pointed very interestingly to the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, and the fact that when Pokhran 2 was referred to during his regime, he did give credit to the Vajpayee government of yore. Mr. Yadav, do you think that the BJP should perhaps follow with that example?
No, I think what has to be understood here is that in the pursuit of giving credit to any government, any regime for that matter, we must, my voice is echoing, to if you can get that fixed.
I will, and sir, we can hear you.
We must not credit, we must not discredit what is happening in the current regime, because whatever has happened in the past definitely lays a foundation, but what is happening today is the game changer.
Correct.
So our defense exports have increased 334% in the last 5 years. 10 times more than what it was in 2016-17. Forget what it was before 2014. We were nowhere in defense exports. We were nowhere in defense production. Now we are producing 99% of individuals. Just if I have to give you your viewers a perspective, over 2.71 lakh crores worth of procurement was cleared in the last financial year, out of which 99% was sourced from the Indian industries. And the defense production has crossed 1 lakh crore mark in the last financial year. This is something exponential. India has never seen this, and this is not just for Tejas. I think Tejas is just the epitome of what India has been able to achieve, India's success story. But in all fields, in defense, in aerospace, the Make in India, the Atmanirbhar campaign has been the most successful in the defense sector. What we are achieving today, now we are a solution to the Indo-Pacific region. We are the, givers of security. We are providing security equipment. We are providing state-of-the-art defense equipments to the entire region. It's not just for India alone. And the rising power of India in this sector, the world is looking upon us. They are looking that India is rising, the global south is rising, and we are becoming the leaders in this sector.
I'm not at all debating that.
This is happening in this region.
So do go ahead. I'm not at all debating that, but I am asking you, why can the BJP not give the Congress credit for the fact that this was an idea that was conceived of, executed in its early stages in the 1980s and 1990s?
No, what exactly credit does the Congress is wanting? They had all the credit in 1980s. They had all the credit in 1990s. For that matter, they had all the time and the credit in the UPA 1 and UPA 2. But what they could not do and what India is achieving today, just for the hunger of the credit, we can't be discrediting what is happening in current regime.
Okay.
If they want to credit that, when we got independent, few institutions were formed which were but obvious that those institutions must come in place. But what is happening with those institutions? What heights are we achieving today? I think it is a matter of great pride. In that great pride, Congress should also come and join and take that pride, and not just want for, give us some credit because we were also in power. We had 4 prime ministers. We have one family who has ruled for 60 years. That credit, you take it, you want to. But enjoy your time being in India in this decade, because India is rising as a global leader and the world is looking upon us.
Okay, let me go over now to the Congress spokesperson who's with us. This is the national spokesperson for the Congress, Salman Soz. Sir, thank you for joining us this evening here on CNN News 18. Sir, I want to ask you, one point here that even when we were speaking to our defense correspondents, our historians and researchers, one thing they were pointing out was that, look, if you look at HAL's history, there was a point in the early 2010s when it didn't look as if the organization, which is today the largest defense sector, PSU, it didn't look like it had a rosy future. That turnaround, perhaps you do need to give the BJP credit to. So what would you say there?
Well, when it comes to things like defense, this defense sector, all governments, we're all pushing forward, we're all lending our shoulders, and we are trying to get something done for the country. And in that, whether it is this government or previous governments, of course, everybody is involved. But, the Congress party is not asking for any credit here. What we are saying is that the Prime Minister makes it seem like, and others who support the Prime Minister as our co-panelists here, they seem to indicate that the Prime Minister is single-handedly responsible for getting this plane off the ground. What we are pointing out is that India was a nuclear power before Prime Minister Modi came along. India was a big defense power, a space power, before Prime Minister Modi came to power. So it is not as if Prime Minister Modi is suddenly, this Make in India that the BJP spokesperson talks about, was supposed to take India's manufacturing sector from 15%, 16% of GDP to 25% of GDP. Right now, the manufacturing sector is less than 15% of GDP. Thank you, Mr. Modi. Thank you, Prime Minister Modi, for doing this. Anyway, but we don't want credit for ourselves. Prime Minister Modi should at least credit all the scientists, all the officers, all the pilots who have worked very, very hard to get us to this stage. He does not believe in sharing credit. In fact, I saw the photos that he tweeted out very carefully. What I saw was everything was about Prime Minister Modi. He did not even take a selfie and tweet that out with the pilot who flew him. It's so shameful. He did not take one selfie with all those who were there and tweet that out. Not just the pilot, but others as well, officers of HAL. By the way, you may not, I don't think you mentioned this, but before Prime Minister Modi became the Prime Minister, the government of India took a decision to make a separate production facility for Tejas. Sacramental in getting us here. People should read history a little bit. But the Prime Minister is obsessed with himself, and let me explain how. Today, in Bengaluru, Captain M.V. Pranjal, his family, and thousands of people from Karnataka were bidding Captain Pranjal, who was killed in the line of duty, who made the supreme sacrifice. He was being given a tearful farewell in some ways. The people were bidding him goodbye. The Prime Minister was tweeting his photo, because this photo op was geared towards the Rajasthan elections. If elections were happening in Karnataka, I'm sure the Prime Minister would go and commiserate with the family, just like as he did with the Indian cricket team when the Indian cricket team lost the World Cup final. But the Prime Minister had nothing to do with Captain Pranjal's family. It's so shameful. By the way, and this is not a one-time thing.
Okay,
Mr.
Soz, we are. I'm so sorry. We are running out of time, sir. 1 second. We've made a number of points.
Let me just finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you people should raise these issues too, not just me, not just the politicians. The media should raise this question, right? In February 2019, when 40 CRPF personnel were killed in a dastardly attack, where was Prime Minister Modi? He was in a photo shoot. He did not stop that photo shoot. In September 2023, when 3 officers of the Indian Army were killed, including, by the way, Colonel Manpreet Singh, who was the commanding officer based in Kokarnag in South Kashmir. 3 officers were killed. What was Prime Minister doing with the BJP?
Okay, Mr. Soz,
the BJP
1 second. You've asked very relevant questions, but I do need to give our other panelists time to respond.
No, but the point is that he's self-obsessed.
No, you made that point. Let me just go over to Siddharth Yadav.
What else is it?
Let me go over to Siddharth Yadav from the BJP,
you
sir.
don't even respect people who are killed in the line of duty.
Okay, let me go over to Siddharth Yadav 1 second, and then I also want to leave time for us to go back to the General who's with us, since he is our one voice from the military with us this evening. Mr. Yadav, do you want to respond? And I'd ask you, sir, we just have a minute. Please go ahead.
Yes, absolutely, Toya. Toya, I feel, it is hilarious for Congress to come out and say that Prime Minister did not take a selfie with the pilot, and if Prime Minister at all takes any selfie, then they say it's a photo op. This hypocrisy of Congress, rather I should say the hatred of Congress towards one leader, one government, one party, is gone to a level that it has confused them of what to oppose and what not to oppose. But if I have to come to the point with what my friend from Congress was saying,
Captain Pranjal's family?
Sir, I was not. Sir, you spoke for very long. I did not object even once. Sir, you spoke for very long. I did not object even once.
Would you not
you spoke for very long. I did not object even once. Please have the courtesy to hear me out, sir. I did not object even once.
You a question
you spoke for long, sir. Please have the courtesy. If this is how it's going to happen, I'm sorry. I can't participate. My friend from Congress has to have the courtesy to hear me out. No, sir, I'm not at your mercy.
We've
kindly keep quiet so that I can speak. If you don't have a point to rebut, then kindly keep quiet. Yes. So, Toya, now my friend from Congress was saying that India was already a nuclear power before Prime Minister Modi came to power. Definitely. India was already independent before I was born. So what? I don't have any contribution in this country. Before my friend from Congress was born, he doesn't have any contribution in this country. Till when are we going to have this? See, Toya, I'll give you a very interesting example. When we drive a car, we have a small rear view mirror and a big windshield to look forward and a small mirror to look backward. But for the Congress, they have a large rear view mirror and just a small windshield to look forward.
To your example,
I invited him to join and cherish
to your example that a car does have a rear view mirror. Mr. Yadav, a car does have a rear view mirror though, right? I think that's what the Congress is saying. Give us some credit. Acknowledge the fact that there was a longer journey.
And I did so, Toya. I said, take the credit you want, but I invited him to join what is happening good in this country today. Okay. I invited him to join and celebrate how India is achieving new heights, but he can't do it. Because he has to pick and choose. He only has to be negative about whatever India's achievement is, because it is the epitome of his hatred towards one person. Right. That is Prime Minister Modi. Because you can't just digest what you could not do in 10 years.
We have unfortunately run out of time. Sirs, thank you. We have run out of time. General, I'd like to thank you also for joining us right here on the show, for taking out time this evening for us right here on the show. Unfortunately, we didn't get time to return to you. All right. With that, we are drawing this show to a close. Thank you for staying with us over the last 23 minutes. We weren't able to go into the depth we wanted to on the technological history here, but this was the political side, at least, that we did cover. That is all that we have for you this evening. This is the Saturday Evening Debate.